started, guys. Morning. We kicked off with just a little general news. Bottom feeder looks like it's on about the last week or so. I think 3 more lifts to make. So we'll go into the winter phase of work with it, which will be the blocks coming in down here and whatever else that needs to be done. But by and large, a couple of little snags along the way. A couple of things that we did were kind of tricky, but a good successful year for the bottom feeder. So y'all supported every lift that took place there, and a good job to everyone. Yard, we got another frame for Greg Gross. That's the test we do in the back there with all the weights stacked up on it. And we'll start looking at the frame itself, making the repairs on that. We'll get it to the back and get it loaded up. And that's typically lens guys, some test guys, and some weigh crew guys involved. Pretty rigorous process. A lot of weight stacked up on that frame. The unknowns are there, so if you don't belong back there, kind of stay away from that test. It's kind of like the test machine. Those lights are flashing. We make some assumptions, but we're not absolutely sure what may or may not happen. Yard's looking good. Glenn and his crew, rigging guys, worked with moving some containers at the other side. The old mag shop building on the glass end that was damaged, they started dealing with it yesterday and removing some hazards. So we're starting to get some maintenance work done again, which is good, and that's kind of when we can get to it. We don't have a crew that just works on that constantly. We had a little foot injury over on the rigging side, and by and large, fellas, foot injuries is something that are going to come to see us over here, but we can remove a lot of the possibilities from our lives over here. So especially watching the shops and on the yard about where we're setting things down, and not so much bigger items, smaller things that are easy to move that somebody can back over or fall forward over and get into a bad situation. Think about what you're doing before you do it. There's consequences to what your decision became. And they may not just be to you, they may be to somebody else. So you've got to put some thought into what you're doing. JSAs, and I've had some JSA conversations this week. I really don't think you can sit down in a break room and write a JSA that's going to cover your whole day, fellas. I really don't think that's the right application for that particular document. I think you can, in general terms, cover what you're going to do and understand that it's probably going to change on you. Unless you're coming out here and you're welding all day and you know you're going to weld for a little while, pick up a grinder for a little while, but I'm going to be in the same general area, the dynamics change. So the document lives and it grows across the day as things change. But I don't think any one of us could sit down and write it, myself included, the perfect JSA. I think when I get to the job site, there's going to be some addition too. I think when the conditions change, I need to note it on the JSA. So understand that, but understand it's important when you come to that conclusion that you do upgrade your JSA and make the change. Consequences. So what you're doing could affect you, and what you're doing could affect someone else. That's why we adopted the behavior-based safety over here. Because I don't need to just be concerned about myself, I need to be concerned about anybody else that might be doing something that may jeopardize. And we've done a real good job embracing that, fellas. I'm gonna go ahead and say it's October, we got no lost time. Talked with my counterpart in Houston, they're kind of mirroring what we're doing. Seeing some little things, and fellas, we are. We had another truck incident the other day. But what we need to understand and what we need to look at when something comes to see us is take care of the situation and not encounter it again. That's corrective action. So when something happens out there as a group, when you're working with some fellas and we have an injury, let's figure out how to not get bit by the same snake twice. That really tells us that we're doing something. because there's a lot of ways over here on any given day to hurt yourself out there on the yard. So good work for paying attention to what you're doing. Good work for having a conscience and stopping somebody from doing something that they shouldn't do. And it's what the company expects of you. And understand when you're doing something wrong, although you think nobody's paying attention, somebody's probably going to see it. I'm probably going to hear about it. It doesn't look good on you. It doesn't look good on the organization. And it's a whole lot easier just to do the right damn thing. So when you get in the habit of doing it the right way, you don't have to worry about getting it wrong anymore. That's your mantra. That's what's inside your head, and that's how you approach it. So let's keep doing it, fellas. I can't tell you any magic. It's as simple as thinking about what you're doing, planning what you're doing, and when you deviate from the plan, understand that we don't just need to go into let's try this, let's try that mode. I was in the FAB meeting the other day. Bring this up. I've seen several instances recently where I think we needed to have taglines and we didn't need to have our hands on a load. I think that's almost every case. I think we need to wait till the load gets around our waist before we try and approach it and grab the tagline. Keep that in mind. If we need to get some more rope, whatever we need to do, we'll do it. But we don't know when something's going to fail, and I guarantee you, if you're standing underneath it when it does, we got big problems. You got the biggest one. I'm going to go home that afternoon and I'm going to sleep well that night, and somebody's going to be at home with their family and wonder when they're going to be back at work. We don't want that. We don't need that. So keep up the good work and be diligent. Got 115 cards count officially on the website right now, but there's actually more cards than that. The participation picked up a little bit. Y'all can see we've got some names in this little jug here. We wound up with 44 cards with names on them. I'm going to throw it out there again. We'll do this again in November. The last week of November, the last Friday of November. Put your name on cards. We're going to make slots of paper with all the names on it, and we're going to draw, and we're going to give a $50 gift certificate to someone. Refrain from, I'm just filling out a bunch of freaking cards. Okay, fellas? That's not the intent. That's not the intent. These cards are for you to note that you saw something on the yard that was good or that wasn't good. You got a safety suggestion for us? You want to tell us about something you saw that needs to be corrected? And it can run from one end of the spectrum to the other, and believe me, they do, fellas. And we try and take every one of them and take a good, honest look at them. And some of them we don't get to as soon as others. Leaking faucet is something that we're going to get to when we can. But we get a leaking faucet on a card, and we get bathrooms dirty on a card. I can fix all of that for you guys if you just listen to what I'm telling you. Pick up after yourself when you're in the bathroom. Got another card on the bathroom over there, and what kind of terrible shape it's in, man, and that's just snubbing your nose to somebody else when you're throwing your paper on the floor, when you're throwing your trash on the yard. We've had a young man on this yard, and let me tell you, diligent with picking up stuff on the yard, and we appreciate it. But you know what? We shouldn't be just throwing our trash on the yard, fellas. Too many clients at this point in our lives coming in here and watching what we do and watching how we do it, and can draw a first impression on what they see when they come through this yard. So just try and get in the habit of picking up after yourself. Try and get in the habit of doing that in the bathroom. Try and get in the habit of doing that on the yard. I think we all understand that concept. We're grown men, right? So let me get somebody up here, man. PJ, come up here, man, and draw this name so somebody be mad at you and not mad at me. We had a bunch of good cards, fellas, and understand that for my purposes, I'm not going to call a card a bad card. But some of them just give you a better bit of information than others. So we have recently taken in this break room, in the break room on the fab side, in the break room back there at the mechanic shop, and there are 3 identical bulletin boards. We've moved card holders next to the bulletin board, We print out the cards weekly. You can read every card that's been turned in, and the information on the bulletin boards will change monthly or daily if it needs to, if we've got to put out some kind of alert or something. Maybe something you guys can take a look at, maybe something you guys can make some suggestions on, but we're going to just keep trying to put information out there for y'all. But feed us on what we need to do for you, and we'll surely try to make it happen. All right, PJ, reach in there and pick us out a lucky winner. I hope it's me.
Eric Bristol.
Eric Bristol. Come on up, Eric. Fellas, participation shouldn't have to be enhanced through giving away anything, so don't think that that's what this is. I feel it's important to not just come over here every day and hum through the same mundane stuff. I believe that your morning safety meeting is a meeting for you guys, and I'm not saying it's not for supervision, but it's a way to start your day, and it's a way to start your day in a positive fashion. And believe me, there's a couple of occasions out of the year where I have to retract that statement because we may have to come in here and talk about something kind of nasty, but we don't have to do that too often. Continue to participate, fellas. You guys know more about what needs to happen on this yard than I'm ever going to know. Okay? So communicate with us. I'm no different than you guys are. I'm just older and I managed to work my way up into this position. You got the same opportunities before you that I had to do the right thing. And I think that's what got me here. So, Eric, we appreciate it. We'll do it when? Next Friday?
Last Friday in October or November?
November. We'll do it at the end of November. What y'all got, fellas? Thank you, Eric.
You were saying injuries earlier. If you need any help, flag somebody down, maybe it's somebody, they'll give you a hand. Don't pull your back out. Don't strain your sides or nothing. Ask for a hand. Somebody will give you a hand.
You know, here's what Scooter's saying. If you need some help, ask for it, and that's a good one. There's a lot of guys that are going to see that you need some help, and they're just going to come over there and help you. But there are times that you need to ask for help, and ask for help. We are going to train next week 5 days in a row for the Harvey Yard guys. Y'all see when they roll out here the orange hard hats, man. They've rolled over, and we've hired a few of those guys, but those guys are on a big learning curve with these cranes. Don't ignore what's going on. If it's another company over here, if it's another division, don't ignore what's going on. If they need side shields, ask them if they need side shields. Tell them they need side shields. Ask them if those are safety toes. Tell them to slow down when they're running through our yard fast, fellas. This is not anything that should offend anyone. This is how we want our yard to run. If we don't let people know, they won't. Who else? Junior said we've had a few incidents with outside truck drivers. Well, I don't want to say it's kind of funny. I don't know how to word it. There's one trucking company that we never saw in here that we're doing a job for a customer, W&T Offshore, right? And that's their preferred trucking company, and we've had 3 incidents with these guys. And you know, trucking's important. Pretty much everything that rolls off of my tongue in here is important to us, fellas. I don't know if y'all realize that, but trucking is important to us. Trucking, the company, the driver's safety is important to us. Why? Anybody? Came close to killing one. And then when I say we came close to killing one, I don't think we had any end on what happened, but we weren't watching what happened. And by the time everybody was able to turn around and hear a big bunch of noise, we got a guy on the ground with some serious head trauma. So that's the reason that we don't want these guys to be up their own device. That's the reason we want to take a look at the load before we start unhinging it. Sometimes we want to be hooked up before we unstrapping the load. So again, there's a lot of decisions to be made with just a damn truck coming into the yard. What's on it? What equipment do we need to offload it? So nothing has been major with these guys. They've just all been somewhat unfortunate. But the latest one, we punched through the deck. Nobody's fault. Load kind of, he wanted the load moved, you know, and some truck drivers are just going to be some truck drivers. But we looked at a few things, and you know, across the board, some of the things that can correct this is the damn guys that designed the hook, understanding that we got a pretty small footprint on this hook that weighs a lot. So I went in and talked to Chris Steinmetz. We're going to have some more wood available to us, but you know, watch out what's going on with these trucks. Eddie talked about, was it last Friday or was it this week, Eddie? Rental guy coming in, flying through the yard. Doesn't make any difference until he hits someone, and then when he hits someone, we got a serious accident. So how do we prevent it? I don't ever want to come in here and tell you guys, hey man, run across the street because somebody might be coming to hit you. It doesn't work that way. We learn greater, we learn quicker doing the right thing, not trying to adjust to somebody doing the wrong thing. You shouldn't have to look out for a golf cart when you're coming behind the machine, you know? You should be able to walk out from there and not worry about anything. Of course, if you need to look out for something, a horn should have blown. Somebody should have let you know we're making a lift, so we warn others. But pay attention to what's going on, because just that quick, fellas, it can get away from us. Who else? Appreciate it, guys. Y'all have a good day.